session of the Alabama Legislature will come to order. We are gathered to hear the State of the State address by His Excellency, Robert Bentley, the Governor of the State of Alabama. Will the doorkeeper please admit the Governor and his party?
Please be seated. Lieutenant Governor Ivey, Speaker Hubbard, President Marsh, distinguished guests, members of the Alabama Legislature, Chief Justice of our Supreme Court, Justice Moore, members of our Supreme Court, and my fellow Alabamians. The poorest county in the United States of America is located just 73 miles from where we sit tonight. If we were to drive a little over an hour from this historic hall, we would find ourselves in Wilcox County, where the median household income is below that of any other county in this nation. 11,000 of our fellow Alabamians live in Wilcox County, where the unemployment rate is chronically in double digits and consistently ranks above the national average. Everyone in this room knows Alabama is one of the poorest states in America, where 1 in 4 children live in poverty. Nearly 1 million of our fellow Alabamians are dependent on food stamps. The statistics are sobering. The facts are indisputable. Never-ending cycles of need for jobs, job skills, and better education plague our communities, our counties, and our state as they have for years. And we are resolved to reverse the trends that have troubled our state for decades. Alabama is truly, though, a great state. It's a state filled with hard-working people, people who want to provide well for their families and seek to live freely and are driven to care for their neighbors and their friends and their communities. Good people live here. And we must all serve them and offer them greater opportunity to prosper if we're to ever see our state rise from the depths of deficiency. We will never see an end to the plague of poverty by offering a deeper dependence on a flawed government system. We will never help our poorest citizens or our future generations by casting over them the net of federal government giveaway programs. We can break the cycle of poverty, but not with programs that drag our communities and our people into the downward spiral of dependence. That is why we will not expand on a flawed and broken system that encourages greater reliance, not on self, but on government, pulling even more of our vulnerable citizens into what President Ronald Reagan called the spider's web of dependency. We will help no one if we continually make decisions that ultimately offer little hope for our citizens while driving this great nation into greater debt. There is never freedom for the breadwinner who is dependent on the government. Work and sacrifice. The people of Alabama deserve the opportunity to find a job that pays well, more than just enough to make ends meet. Our hard-working neighbors deserve opportunity to acquire skills needed to get a great job that pays well. Opportunity for their children to receive a quality education, even at an early age, so they have a fighting chance to compete in school. Opportunity for a lifeline out of the cycle of poverty and dependence by a government that doesn't solve problems with more spending, but with saving the taxpayers' money. That opportunity is here in Alabama. It continues to grow, and it's available for those who seek to find it. Opportunity is being found in over 40,000 new future Alabama jobs that have been created since I became your governor. These are the high-paying, high-skilled jobs that offer families a steady income, not just a wage. These are jobs that are waiting to be filled in brand new manufacturing plants being built as we speak. 1,000 Alabamians are finding that opportunity in Mobile, where Airbus has invested $600 million to produce the first A320 family aircraft, as its ultra-modern facility is opened in 2015. Boeing is opening now one of its 5 research facilities in Huntsville, where the aerospace giant will bring up to 400 more high-paying jobs. 900 more people are working this year assembling Montgomery-made Hyundai vehicles, which account for more than half of the company's record-breaking sales. 1,400 new jobs are coming to Tuscaloosa's Mercedes plant to produce 2 new models. 600 more jobs have been added at their new logistics hub. Toyota is expanding its Huntsville engine plant, the only location in the world where the automaker produces 4-cylinder V6s and V8 engines. In Lincoln, last spring, Honda launched mass production of its 2014 Acura MDX sports vehicle, the first time the automaker has assembled a vehicle like this in its luxury line here in our state. Word is spreading far and wide that Alabama is a great place for companies to do business. There are over 60 Japanese companies in Alabama. 2 months ago, I had the opportunity to travel there to recruit more jobs and strengthen relationships with Japan's biotech industry. During the trip, I sat on the bus next to the CEO of Otsuka, the parent company of Pharmavite in Lee County. I told him about UAB and Southern Research in Birmingham and how they could help that company with biotech research. As a result, next week, Otsuka will be meeting with those institutions to explore ways they can work together in research and development of new products. Companies like Otsuka have quickly recognized, as others have, that we have a positive business climate and that our job training program is second to none. Without a doubt, our greatest asset for any industry is our workforce. The men and women of this state who get up every day and they go to work to produce and to build and develop a product, a good, or a service that is made in Alabama. I've seen for myself, as I've traveled across this state on our Road to Economic Recovery tours. In Fayette, I saw workers weld together dump truck beds. In Clark County, I watched as skilled craftsmen carved out church pews. And I saw workers in Franklin County assemble motor homes known the world over. And at Hyundai, they now work around the clock to meet the world's growing appetite for Alabama-made cars. Montgomery workers broke the facility's monthly production record 3 times last year. Watching these men and women work on the assembly line, I have never been more convinced the best workforce in this country is right here in Alabama. Nothing is more important to me than making sure that there are well-paying jobs for our people. Alabama has seen remarkable job growth since I took office in 2011. Between January 2011 and last November, Alabama saw an increase of 59,400 jobs. That is in addition to those 40,000 new future jobs that we've created. Companies have invested over $5 billion in our state, and unemployment in Alabama has dropped to a 5-year low and now stands at 6.2%, the lowest rate in the South. Alabama once again ranks among the top 5 states for doing business for the 4th year in a row. But we mustn't stop here. We have to keep working to make sure we're doing all we can to not only help people find jobs, but also help businesses continue to create jobs, especially the nearly 400,000 small businesses in this state. Address specific needs of Alabama's small businesses. Nearly half of Alabama's private sector workforce is found in small businesses. The Small Business Advisory Council will focus on making sure that they have the resources and support needed to not only grow their business, but also create well-paying jobs for the people of this state. We must create greater opportunity for Alabamians to acquire the skills needed for higher-paying jobs. Companies are looking for, and jobs are waiting for skilled workers. In Athens, TR Electric is a small family-owned company that I visited last year. Business is good, but to keep up with the demand, they need more skilled electricians. That's why we created the Governor's College and Career Task Force. We brought together leaders in the fields of business and industry and education to develop ideas to help prepare students for a career. The task force recently presented a number of recommendations that will result in a constant supply of high school and college graduates who have the skills industries and business such as TR Electrical want. We will present legislation creating a statewide workforce council of business and industry leaders who will advise educators and colleges on the workforce needs and on the types of jobs needed in each region, so that students may attend high school and a two-year college at the same time. We will also develop a marketing campaign and put a greater emphasis on teaching essential skills. Once implemented, this program will improve high school graduation rates and increase the number of higher skilled workers. From North Alabama to South Alabama, we have positioned ourselves for what I believe will be tremendous growth for generations to come. At the Gulf Coast, we will build a lodge and a meeting facility and improve the Gulf State Park for all the people of Alabama to enjoy with funds we secured from a portion of the BP oil settlement. In north central Alabama, we will soon begin the study and research of one of the state's greatest energy resources. 7.5 billion barrels of oil are located on the surface and subsurface in north central Alabama in the form of oil sands. This year, we will create the Alabama Oil Sands Program at the Alabama Geological Survey and our Oil and Gas Board to further study this potentially rich resource. Has been given the opportunity to recruit more jobs, thanks to the largest road and bridge improvement program ever conducted in the state. When companies look for places to build and expand and hire more people, they look for places that have good infrastructure. The Alabama Transportation Rehabilitation Improvement Program, or ATRIP, along with its companion program, the Rural Assistance Matching Program, or RAMP, are making over $1 billion available to counties and cities and allowing much needed road and bridge projects to move forward. Today, more than 1,000 road and bridge improvement projects are underway or soon will be because of ATRIP and RAMP, and have expected us to operate their state government more efficiently and to live within our means. When we entered office in 2011, our state was broke. We took a serious look at all areas of state government to identify savings. And thanks to the hard work of Lieutenant Governor Ivey, Speaker Hubbard, President Marsh, and the entire legislature, we made history in the state of Alabama. And tonight, I am proud to tell the hard-working people of this state that we did what we set out to do. In just 3 years' time, we have reduced this state's bureaucracy at the third fastest pace of any other state in the nation. And more importantly, we have saved our taxpayers over $1 billion. Committed to paying off our debts. 1 year ago, I stood here and promised I would sign legislation to pay back millions of dollars the people allowed us to borrow from the Alabama Trust Fund. That transfer allowed us to prop up lack of funding in the state's general fund. It kept Alabamians working, and it enabled us to continue to provide essential government services. That was the first bill that the legislature passed, and I signed it. And in October, because of conservative budgeting and an improving economy, we made substantial progress in our commitment to paying off millions of dollars still owed to the Education Trust Fund's rainy day account. We must keep our word to the people of this state, and we must pay our debts. And I want to say that that's exactly what we're going to do. Because debt is one of the greatest threats to our country today. Our nation is buckling under the weight of a federal government that has continued to take on debilitating debt. We've opened the doors of dependency programs to millions. Our nation is an overloaded ship, slowly sinking as even more passengers come on board. Exactly 50 years ago, this nation's president declared a war on poverty with sweeping new legislation aimed at lowering the poverty rate in this country. The national poverty rate now stands at 15% and has changed very little over the last 50 years. In Alabama, the poverty rate is even higher, with some counties as high as 36%. This war gave our country a new set of federal government-run programs intended to offer assistance or a safety net for Americans who are struggling. Those programs today have grown and expanded and have become a lumbering giant, threatening our nation's economic stability, our national security, and the very freedom of our people. The Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare and Medicaid expansion, is taking our nation deeper into the abyss of debt and threatens to dismantle what I believe is one of the most trusted relationships, and that is the relationship between a doctor and their patient. Essential to Obamacare is Medicaid expansion, a federal government dependency program for the uninsured, which is administered by our states. Since 1980, Medicaid spending has increased nationally over 1,500%. Here in Alabama, Medicaid takes up 35% of our general fund. And under Obamacare and Medicaid, it would grow even larger, bringing millions more people to a state of dependency on government and saddling our state and our nation, the taxpayers, with enormous expense. People would be added to the Medicaid roll, to a system that by our own admission is absolutely broken and flawed. The federal government has said they'll give us money to expand. But how can we believe the federal government? And how can we believe that they will keep their word? The Anything But Affordable Care Act has done nothing to gain our trust. First, they told us we could keep our doctor. That turned out not to be true. Next, they told us we could keep our policies, and that's not true. Then they told us our premiums wouldn't go up. Nothing could be further from the truth. Now they're telling us we'll get free money to expand Medicaid. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing is free. The money the federal government is spending with wild abandon is not federal dollars. Those are your dollars, your hard-earned tax dollars. There is no difference between federal money and your money. Our great nation is $17.2 trillion in debt, and it increases by $2 billion every single day. That is why I cannot expand Medicaid in Alabama. We will not bring hundreds of thousands into a system that is broken and buckling. The Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act is everything but affordable. There are 18 new taxes embedded in Obamacare and Medicaid expansion, which cost you an estimated $800 billion over the next 8 years. From our education budget by 2016, that's money that could have been spent on teachers and students and support personnel. It does not protect patients. 22% of primary care doctors account for 90% of primary care billing. If we were to add 300,000 to Medicaid, where would they receive the care? Already in Alabama, because of Obamacare, over 87,000 people have seen a change in their coverage. And you or someone you know has likely seen your premiums double. Anyone who needed care. I would travel to some of the most impoverished counties in West Alabama, and I spent a day every week seeing and caring for those patients. If they didn't have money to pay, I wouldn't charge them. Many times, I would buy medications for those patients out of my own pocket, and I would pay for their prescriptions. As a practicing physician, I would never want anything. There will be no one left to stop the out-of-control spending in Washington. I love Alabama. And I love America. If we continue down this path, the America our founding fathers envisioned will no longer exist. Gone will be the promise that was once based on opportunity, independence, and individual liberties. Nearly 1 million people in Alabama are on Medicaid. It is not my goal to put more people on Medicaid, but to have less. It is not my intent to put able-bodied individuals on a government dependency program. We will encourage our people with the opportunity for education and employment. It will not happen overnight. But I truly believe there is opportunity and training for higher paying, higher skilled jobs. There is greater capacity for independence and less if we do not allow government to take over this nation as they're doing at the present time. There is no greater than a chance to excel in school. So many of our children need this opportunity, but too few have access to it. And the earlier they begin receiving a quality education, the better chance they have at success. Alabama is home to one of the nation's top pre-K programs. Last year, we opened 100 new pre-K sites, and I can tell you, pre-K is making a real difference in the lives of Alabama's children. First-class pre-K children, when they go to pre-K programs, consistently miss fewer days of school, they're less likely to need special education services, and are less often retained than those who do not enroll in pre-K. Third graders who were in the pre-K program scored at 100% reading proficiency. But the most significant result of children in pre-K is the impact on those who live in poverty from low-income families. Pre-K closed the achievement gap for lower-income students by as much as 29%. And because of these proven results, I'm including more funding for voluntary pre-K in my budget. May I say that nothing is more important to a child's education than their teacher. And I truly appreciate the sacrifices our teachers have made. Last year, teachers received a 2% pay raise. This year, I'm proposing another 2% increase for our teachers and our support personnel. Our state employees have also made sacrifices, and I appreciate that. And they have enabled us to balance our budgets. That's why I lifted the merit pay freeze on state employees just 2 weeks ago. And we're still optimistic. If the money is available, we will propose a conditional pay raise up to 4% for state employees. We've assembled in this chamber tonight, marking the beginning of another session of the Alabama Legislature. And most of us in this room have one thing in common. We have been chosen by the men and women of this state to serve our fellow citizens. We've been elected, chosen, charged with the task of making our state better than it was when we came into office. We have been all placed here to create opportunity, not just for the men and women of one county or one district, but for the over 4 million Alabamians who make our state so great. Here is the poorest county in the United States, and it has not seen a major industry since man set foot on the moon. When I became your governor, I had one goal: where there is opportunity for people to get a good job, to train, and to get the skills that they need, to get a good education at an early age, and to continually encourage people to break free of the bondage of dependency, to stand on their own 2 feet. And we do this by giving him or her an opportunity for and the satisfaction of having a job. William is why I am here. And he is who I work for. And Alabamians, just like him, are why we are all here, and we should never forget that. We never should forget that Alabama is a wonderful state. We have a lot of opportunities in this state. But what we do is very important here in government. And we need to always remember it's the people. God bless you all, and may God bless this great state of Alabama.